Hi, my name is Natalia and I'm coming to you from Denmark and this is my knitting podcast. I'm a little sick today, so I will try to go through, maybe make some pause. I have my warm coffee with me and we will try to go through this. So I will start with what I'm wearing, then I have two finished objects and two or three work in progress. So what I'm wearing, was my finished object last week. It's sweater by Locatelli. It's called Understated, and I was working it for um, Hohi Fall Call. It's a boxy sweater. As you see, it have a lot of positive ease. It's have quite slim sleeves. Actually, pattern call for much shorter sleeves, but I was wanted to wear this like in winter, autumn, so I wanted to have a possibility of long sleeves. If something, I can always roll it, but that was the idea. It's have really nice V neck, and you probably cannot see, but it's have like a rib pattern here on the shoulders, and then rest of body it's just stockinette stitch. The pattern is called for decay weight yarn, but I made this in light fingering weight yarn and I'm really happy with result and how it looks. So um I don't know, I'm kind of like, it was a lot of knitting because all this positive is, but I kind of like up for making one more sweater, maybe in some another yarn, but I mean like this pattern again. For now, I will be wearing this and we'll see how that will go. The problem is it's too deep to just be wearing without, I don't know, t-shirt or shirt or some blouse under this. And I cannot figure it out with what to wear this. Like one idea, it's like some button blouse. I try with a t-shirt, but it had like crew neck and quite high. Um, wasn't the best look. I try with black and white. It's not the color, it's just look of this. So some blouse or something like this, I don't figure it out, but really happy with this sweater. So now we will go to the finished objects and I have two of them. I tried hard last week to finish some of the knits what I had. Um, yeah, before when I just started knitting, I was monogamous knitter, so I was finishing one object and then was starting another one, and there was maybe even break between them. Like I was thinking what exactly I want to knit and all this, but now I have multiple projects and sometimes I have the problem that I'm starting the project and then I don't know, losing interest to that and don't really want to continue with that. So yeah, Eric from Stick Plus Twine, he was um, having a make-along to finish all your whips, and I decided to participate and was trying hard to make finish as much um, objects what I'm still have like work in progress as I can. Eric actually was the first podcaster what I started to watch when I just find for myself the world of podcasters, knitter podcasters. So yeah, this socks I was showing you last time. It's this knit what I was test knitting for winter weather knit knitwear, I believe. I will link all my project down below. I normally write the name of the project, then pattern, then designer name, and then link in my Ravelry page that you can see. I don't know what yarn I was using, or needles, or some modification if I was doing so. So I just knitted the socks. Last time I had one finished, and then leg of another one, and was needed to start like heel and continue. So I pulled through and made that. I don't remember which I showed previously, which I finished just now. yes. Um, but yeah, it's really fun socks. They are constructed you know, top down, and here they have folded brim. Then it's knitted in mosaic knits. I didn't block it yet, so it's not look even yet, and it has this nice pattern of this Christmas tree. So I think it will be quite nice, like for present for Christmas or for yourself as a Christmas socks. Yeah, this gray yarn is just a plain sock yarn from Garn or Salk. It's discontinued yarn. They don't produce this anymore. It was called Sock It, and yeah, even if I will tell you color now, it's I bought this on this stash, and yeah, it's not the perfect yarn, so I understand why they don't produce it anymore. But I still have it, so I'm using that. And that another color, it was gradient yarn. I have just that amount left, but I use just 50 gram. I had 50-gram ball, and I use like almost all. It maybe will be a square in my cozy memory blanket, but it's well, I quite like. The repeat of yarn is really long, so I didn't try to figure it out to make this even. And this socks will be for my daughter, and I know that she's not how to tell this right. It shouldn't be like perfect repeat for her to wear the socks. She really like knitted socks, and I believe this will be nice Christmas socks for her. So they need just blocking. Can recommend the pattern. Um, it have mosaic color work, so you actually work one row just with one color. It's kind of like easier because you don't carry in second color, but in another way it's also harder because you basically kind of like work a row twice. Yeah, because you work with one color then with another. Yeah, so there's pluses and minuses of this, but I think it's really nice. Another dress knitters was using different colors, and they all look really great. Like there are some like combination of white and green look amazing. Yeah, my first finished object. My second finished object is a little bigger. It's kind of like a lot of bigger. It was my another test knit. This time it was this knit for Max the knitter. Um, yes, this is a shawl. It also wasn't blocked yet, but it's called Field Shawl by Max the knitter. It will be released somewhere in this month because we had time until 12th of November. So I believe it will be knitted somewhere after this. So this yarn used DK weight yarn. I knitted this on 3.5 millimeters needles, and it's called for 200 gram of each color in DK weight yarn. So the pattern is use like two colors. Cannot show you this fully. I will try to insert picture, but it's also hard to see on that picture what I was trying to do. It's like triangle shaped. It's quite long. I believe you can use this like a scarf because not that. It's actually quite wide, but it's not that wide. It's really easy pattern because it just gather stitch. So you knit each row and simple increase and decrease. So you start, I believe I start from pink, I don't know. You start on one point and then you increase in stitches, and you increase every 4 row, I believe, I don't remember exactly. And then after pattern repeat, you have one stripe of your contrasting color, what will be in the next part your main color, and then you do a couple of these repeats. And then when you made all pattern repeats, you change in your color, and then now your contrasting color is becoming your main color, and then your main color from here it's contrasting here, and then again. But for this part you are decreasing, so it's getting smaller, smaller and smaller. And yeah, I absolutely love it. I didn't block it yet, didn't had proper time for that, but I finished. I wove all the ends. As I tell it last time, for the first part I didn't wove the end, but on the second I already was working on Steven West um, shawl. So I remember that he was always mentioned this Steven weaving, like when you wove the ends while you knitting. So on the second part I was doing this, and then in the end it was much easier because I had to wove the end just on a half of my shawl, and another I just need to clip the ends. So I finished with the end, just need to wash now, and I had like that amount left from all yarn what I had. So again, I had 200 gram of this gray and 200 gram of the pink. Um, yes, yarn what I used is how they call this, reloved merino, I believe, from Garnell Silk. I showed that before. They use merino, recycle it, and add some another fibers, and it's had some nips on another color. I don't know how you can see. You can see this like blue and red, and then on the pink it was more like reddish, pinkish nips. It had some white and red colors. No, how good you can see. Really soft yarn. I really like to work with this, and I feel nice that they recycle yarn, so I feel like the product wasn't wasted, and I used that again, so nice. Um, I will try to wear that to show you how that look. Don't know how much you can see, but it's quite big. So it's kind of like that look. What are you getting? So it's quite long here on top, and you have this extra fabric. You can put this under, over, as you like. Yeah, there's I believe you can make this with lower or higher contrast as you like, but I find this pink and gray combination is like really elegant. I think it's look quite nice. I'm thinking if I want to leave this for myself, I'll give this like a present for my mother. I didn't decide yet. I don't know if she will like the colors, but I don't know. Still thinking about this, but really like the finished object. So um, that was all my finished objects, but I think it was kind of like okay. I pushed myself a little to finish them, but now I feel better that I don't have that much W.I.P.s, and I feel specifically better because both of that project was test knit, so now I know that I am free and can work on another W.I.P.s. I have one more test knit, but I cannot show that because it's secret, so probably I will be just showing finished object, and that test knit is taking a lot of time because it's kind of like bigger project. So yes. Now I will be going to talk about what I'm knitting, and I will start with Shawlography by Steven West. Clue released by now, and it's already week from last clue. Before I was trying to catch up with all clue and finish them in a week, but this time I give myself a little I don't know time to work with this. I know that there is no more clue coming, and I had another things to knit and another things to do, so I cannot just sit and knit all day, unfortunately. Yeah, so um, if you still try to don't see how it look, then spoiler, but I will show my shawl and last part what I'm still working on. So my shawl, I was using like this gray and blue combination. This color look almost black, but it's like dark gray. This is my colors, and I start to work border. So for the border, pattern is called to stripe all your yarn. I'm doing modification, and I'm, how you call this, make a gradient of my yarn. So technically this part it should be one color, then this, when I have this gray and dark gray, it should be another color, then blue with black third color, and so on. But I saw the two projects when the people was making a small stripe, so they was making like a gradient, and I decided that I would like that look better. I'm not really big fan of stripes, but when they are that small and they like doing like gradient, I decided that I kind of like it and will go with this. So the border should be like that, and then I marlin my colors, and it's going to be like that. I kind of like this. I think it's look nice, but it's taking time. Even in that way, it will take a time because you work in, I don't know how many stitches back and forward, and picking up a stitch every row. And I don't know how many stitch I have now on a shawl, but in my case, the 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 way as pattern color repeat, you change in yarn every 14 rows, if I believe. Yeah, you do 7 garter ridges, and then changing yarn. But in my uh, variation of this, I'm changing yarn every second row, so I'm making knit row, knit side, wrong side, and then changing color. But I like how it's coming. So right now I'm finished like that. It's even not a half of the shawl, but it's kind of like, I don't know, kind of like big part. I don't know how long that will take me to finish all, but I liked it. So don't know how to show you. That's how much yarn I have back. I have, yeah. I wasn't following yarn pattern as was it called for yarn, so it was changing whereas the the pattern called for A or B. I was just looking which I think it will look nice in that part, and then was just putting this. So that's around the amount of yarn what I have left. But as I told before, I'm okay with everything. If some yarn will end in some point, I will add some from my stash in similar color, something like this. But I think I'm okay to finish this with this amount of yarn. So my modification wasn't that wrong to cost me to don't have yarn to finish it. So again, this year Steven West Make-A-Lon might look like that. I will try to maybe finish this until next time. If not, we will see when that gonna be finished. So that's my biggest work in progress for now. I have one smaller now. I didn't have any plain socks on my needle, but last week on a Saturday I had long day at university. I'm at a part of my education when I should start to write my master thesis, and we had a meeting in connection to that where we was told like all rules and all these things. And because there was a lot of people and a lot of talking and all these things, I wanted to have some sock that I can just work while I'm sitting and knitting. I can don't look on my knitting if it's just simple stocking and stitch, so I decided to cast it on. On my last vacation, I was showing you I bought this yarn, signature, this West Yorkshire Spinnery signature for ply, and the color is call it hollyberry, so it's kind of like Christmassy yarn. And last week I decided to cast the socks, and ta-da! Now I have one socks ready. I forgot how fast they go if I just taken them with me, work on a bus or another things. Apparently I need a lot of coffee breaks today. So I casted socks toe up. I didn't look where I started, just it was like random red stripe, so I started there. I have these markers to mark each 10 rows that I know how I will be knitting next sock. I like this yarn. It's had like this multicolor stripe where it's like white or off-white and green, and then it's two different green colors and two different red colors. So yeah, I made this toe up. I made the toe starting with 24 stitches, increased to my normal stitch count is 56, and then I needed, I believe, 60 rows. Then heel, I'm working shadow row heel. So this marker was where I started this, where this when I finished this. No, all around. This I started, this I finished, and then I was working here for the leg part, and I work 5 rows and then 10 rows of ribbon, and then I bind it off with sewn tubular bind off. Really like this bind off. It's really stretchy. It's look nice. Yeah, I don't like my socks really long, so this is nice size for me. Yeah, so I finished one last week when I was there at university. I work almost all the way through the here, from toe almost all the way to the heel. And then during this week, while we was going, when I was putting my son to school, going back, going to university, I'm taking buses, so I was just knitting on the bus. I finished heel and all another things, and I started second one. And today I actually finished the heel again, so again toe up. I was counting rows again with this all the stitch markers, made the heel, and now I already should start to working on the leg. So I still have like 50 rows of stockinette stitch, 10 rows of ribbon and tubular bind off. So until next time I probably will have it finished, and I will still have a lot of yarn back. Last year after I finished the socks for myself, I always had the yarn enough to make a socks for my kids, so that will be probably will be also a pair of socks for some of my daughter or my son. I showed this to my son, and he told that he don't like this light green color. He won't without this. I told I will not be cutting out each color, so he told me that he will like another socks, not this one. So that will be probably for my daughter. Yes, and there was one more project what I started, but it's really small. So I decided to make fingerless mittens for myself. I had more of this yarn, what I showed, this reloaded merino from Garnell Silk. I don't know if it's DK or sportwear yarn. It has 300 meters per 100 gram, but that shawl was called for DK weight yarn, so it's more like sportwear yarn, yes. But that shawl was called for DK weight yarn, and I get the gauge, so I don't know. So I had some yarn in this another color. The shawl I was knitting, it's lighter gray, this one is darker, and I'm trying to make some mittens. So for now I'm just making the ribbing, it's 3 by 2, and then I want them longer, so I probably will make like, I don't know, 15-20 centimeters of that, and then we'll be making a gusset, and then also longer. My idea is that I will make them the top that you can roll that down, or you can make this like open that, and then it will cover almost all hands. Sometimes I feel like I need the fingers free for fun or for another things, for like, I don't know, take a wallet or something like this and take off the gloves all the time. I don't really want it. So I will try, and we will see how that will go. I had more of this. I have one more ball, so this one wasn't full ball, and I have one more. And next time I will show you if I make some progress and if it's working out. I needed some mitten. I knitted some mittens before, so I kind of like understand the construction, and we will see how that will go. That was all for me today. We had a plan to go to city to look how they are starting Christmas light. Today is the day when they gonna start the Christmas light in the city. Um, yeah, it's still a little scary because of Corona and all these things. Even that in Denmark we have a big number of vaccinated people. Now the numbers are growing, so it's a little scary. But my son really want to go. Um, Before Corona, we was going there each year. Last year we wasn't because of lockdown, so we kind of like looking forward, but in the same way, it's still like unsure situation. But yes, that was all for me. See you next time. Hi.